Hey guys, so today's video I'm going to be talking about how much I get paid as a registered nurse versus my income as an illustrator. The real numbers. Have you ever wondered how much a registered nurse makes here in California? More specifically, Central California? Well, today I'm going to tell you just that. And I'll even show you actual pay stub of mine. Also talk about how much illustration has paid me so far, and the comparison might surprise you. So stick around. So let's get the numbers out of the way first, since I know that's what a lot of people clicked on this video for. Illustrations. So for the past 5 years, I have one published book that we're selling, and a second one that's done, just not available yet to purchase or buy. I've made a little under 10 grand within those 5 years of that one published book. It's not a huge amount of money. However, I got paid for my work and effort that I put into illustrating a book. I mean, you can definitely use 10 grand for something. Again, I'm a registered nurse here in Central California, currently working as a case manager. I've been working in psych unit for 3 years, and then I transitioned to case management / UM coordinator position at the same psych facility. Yeah, case manager, UM coordinator, depends on the title, wherever you work. Somewhat similar in psych. So yearly I bring home about 65 to 70 grand a year. That's after taxes. Net, if you will. And again, those numbers move around, depending if I take some call in sick, or if I work a little overtime just to catch up on my workload. But for the most part, 65 to just under 70 grand. I don't think I've ever gotten past 70 grand as a RN case manager. So when I first became a nurse back in 2022, my initial pay was $49 an hour. That's it, as a new grad. And then now, currently, I'm making $50 and some change in an hour. So not too big of a pay increase within the past 4 years. I guess the biggest change as far as pay increase was going from 36 hours a week, that's 3 12s, to 5 8-hour shifts a week. That's 40 hours a week. I did lose the opportunities to pick up extra shifts and get those bonuses and overtime shifts, as floor nurses do. Get paid a time and a half for that overtime for most places, I believe. But, as a case manager now, or UM coordinator, I don't get that opportunity, which is all good. Currently, for myself, the biggest pay increase that I've experienced was just getting those extra 4 hours a week, from 36 to 40 hours. So why nursing? Why psych? Nursing gives me that stability, as I like to reiterate. I'm not pursuing illustration to get out of nursing. I love nursing. I love my career. I love nursing as an art. A lot of nurses have their own specialty. L&D nurses have a big passion for newborns and mothers. For me, myself, I grew up with an older brother with schizophrenia. I've been around it for as long as I can remember, honestly. So mental illness is not something I am unfamiliar with. I'm also Filipino. Being Filipino has those cultural beliefs, or not believing mental illness, as do most Asian cultures do. There's denial, there's that stigma, and I think it's important as a psych nurse that I should educate and help break through that stigma. Mental illness is just as serious as any other medical issues or medical illnesses and should be treated as such. But again, this isn't a get me out of nursing story, just doing something that I love and enjoy doing with art and illustration. As far as the illustration side, past 5 years, I have made just under 10 grand. Fairly early. I have only one piece of work that I've contributed to that we sold over 2,500 books. It was split 3 ways between myself, my wife, and my sister-in-law, who we all created the book. I have finished the second book that I've worked on. It's not on sale yet, but will be out in November. We also don't work with any publisher. This is all strictly self-published. So it's just a team of 3 handling, the marketing, the promoting, creating the book, printing the book, editing the book. Having a team makes it so much more manageable. And one of the reasons why I decided to take this illustration career more seriously was because I wanted to make a little bit more money. I currently have my associates. The next step is getting your bachelor's and then getting your master's and getting your NP and taking your license exam to become a nurse practitioner. I did a little research and saw that it costs about 40 to 60 grand depending on where you want to go, to get from where I'm at as an the associate's degree in nursing to becoming a nurse practitioner. And roughly it's about a 40K increase in my salary, so I'd be making 6 figures if that were the case. On paper that sounds worth it, but I sat with it and I'm not the biggest fan of school. I'm a good student and all, but I get stressed out about school, especially when you're spending that amount of money. Again, I'm not afraid of failing. However, I had to weigh in my options of if I wanted to make more money, is becoming an NP the only option that I have? I personally didn't think it was worth it for me. Instead, I looked into the skills and the tools that I had that I could use to make more money instead of becoming an NP. And I already have a love for art. I have the skills to be a good artist or grow into a good artist. And I got the tools. I also got a job that is able to support taking this risk as become a professional illustrator. So around the same time, I was sitting with this idea of what my next step would be from working as a registered nurse with an associate's degree. I was learning how to manage my own personal finance, learning how to build wealth, how to invest. And the idea of compound interest just clicked for me, that I can apply it outside of money as well. So I thought the more consistent I can be with art, the more I'll improve and grow. So I thought, let's just do that. Let's apply that same principle of compound interest to my art skills and build some wealth off of that. So why now? Another thing that has pushed me to really commit to becoming an illustrator is I just became a dad. I felt that lifestyle creep when I first started making money as a nurse 4 years ago. Those feelings of wanting more, wanting to buy more, buy more things that I don't need. It stops me from, my actual goal of building wealth, building a legacy to pass on to my family, my son, and whatever may come in the future. I want to be able to help people, not just my own. So, whatever money that I have left over, I'll definitely give to those in need. As far as now, my plan is to keep working as a nurse, to have that stable foundation, And illustration is just something that I'm willing to spend as much time to grow and learn the industry and just enjoy it. And hopefully the byproduct of that is some extra money on the side. But, it's a very vague long-term goal. I can go over my goals in another video. However, my short-term goal currently is I need a portfolio. I need about like 15 to 20 pieces that I'm really proud to present to publishers. Even though that's not the ultimate goal, is to work with a publishing house. That would be awesome if I could. I think it's just a fun goal to reach, to be able to work with a publishing house. But I just want to make art and grow as an artist and illustrator, and work with writers and tell great stories, and through writing and through illustration, get some recognition and also get paid for the love I have for it. But another short-term goal besides creating a portfolio, I do want to kind of be a writer illustrator and tell my own stories and illustrate my own books. So I'm aiming for next year, in May 2027, to have a book done and ready to print. I do have a story that I'm working on, so I'll have less than a year to create something. I have an idea already, as I said, which having this second book that I worked on, I took a year. So this next book I'm trying to write and illustrate, I want to just challenge myself and get it done in a shorter amount of time. I think it's a good skill to have, especially if your goal is to work with some publishers. You want to be able to meet deadlines. I think that's what people are looking for as well. But those are the real numbers and a lot of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. Nowadays a lot of people have a day job and a side hustle that they're working on. So I'm curious of those who are watching, like, what are you guys doing? How do you guys manage that balance between having a full-time job and a side hustle? Or is there any other things that you're juggling along with those two things? For myself, I got a family to take care of now, so it adds another thing to the mix for myself. But I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. But book 2, my Librarian Is a Spy, is coming out in November. Please consider subscribing. I'll give more info about an exact date of when that's going to release, how you can purchase it yourself. If you're a parent, an educator, please keep myself and my work and my family's work in mind to have in your classroom or your home or in your library or your bookstore. I would greatly appreciate that. But that's it for this one. Appreciate you watching, folding clothes with me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.